Greetings, my beloved Black people. Welcome back to the plight and struggle of Black people in America. As usual, we have a special guest. And this brother, actually, this is my first time meeting him, officially, I'll say. But I've heard a lot about him, seen some things about him, and this is going to be quite a treat. Let me bring the brother on.
What's going on there, bro?
You, Brother Melvin, how you feeling?
Oh, man, I'm feeling great today, man. I really am helping the community. Things are looking brighter up here in Los Angeles and across the nation. So we doing what we doing.
That's what that is.
Thank you for having me here, bro.
Oh, yeah, for sure, my man, because I've noticed that you're really into making a difference and contributing to the well-being and betterment of our Black communities.
Yes, sir.
Across the nation. And I appreciate that. And you make me think of when I was growing up, born and raised. I'm born and raised in North Philadelphia. Been in Texas since the age of 20. I'm 63 now as of February 13th. And even though I grew up in a harsh and hard ghetto of North Philly, I never was a member of a gang, never was incarcerated, and I'd never been in the military. And I made it to Dallas, Texas, fortunately, and went through work and retirement with the U.S. Postal Service, dealing in building maintenance, heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, and plumbing. And now I'm retired and don't have to work. And so this is my full-time action, contributing to the well-being and betterment of Black people. It was like in the 80s where I had decided that I've dedicated my life to contributing to the well-being and betterment of Black people to the best of my ability. That was in my 20s.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I started in about 76. We was in the first gang intervention program ever in the history of America when it came to Crips and Bloods, and that ended with a murder that occurred with one of the members, with Rosie Greer and others that had started it. A young lady that ran the newspaper, Mrs. Washington, the Sentinel newspaper, which is one of the most biggest Black syndicated news columns written in America back then. So I've been around intervention, prevention, restorative justice, redefining the community for a long time.
And to me, for you to mention that brother Rosie Greer, I'm thinking that he's the brother that caught that guy that assassinated Robert Kennedy. I feel like you had to know that for you to mention him. I say you got that. Oh yeah, we knew it. Yeah, I knew you knew it when you mentioned it. A lot of people
don't know their history. That's why I tell them listening is learning and history is knowledge. But Rosie Greer was coming off the infamous the Kennedy killing down here at the Ambassador Hotel, and it's ironic that we consider ourselves.
And guess what else, Melvin? Sharing is caring, for sure. When we share this information, because we care and we want to make a difference and help our people with the things that they don't know. I think most of our people will do better if they knew better. I believe that.
Yeah, they will. And Absolutely. It's another tidbit about it. Then we'll continue on.
Okay.
He caught the suspect name was Sirhan Sirhan. In fact, he's still incarcerated since 68, 69 here in California prisons. But I used to talk to Sirhan every day when I was doing a SHU program. That's security housing when you're in maximum security in a California state prison. And they used to be on what we call the PC yard, protective custody. And so I used to talk to Sirhan quite a bit, and another guy named Dan White that killed Moscone, the mayor, and another council member back up there in Oakland and Frisco during the days of the Black Panthers and Huey Newton Cleaver. I grew up in the same area as you, to where I witnessed the same events.
Yeah, that type of thing. Is that also around the time where Angela Davis and those judges were killed and they tried to pin that on her? Was that in that same environment?
They went to Jonathan Jackson got killed. George Jackson's brother in San Marin County, to where they tried to break him out of prison, and he was subsequently slain. It's also with a judge and some more people. But I know Angela Davis. She's teaching college. She was a professor at Cal. Now she's down at Santa Maria, somewhere down there by the Hearst Castle, where she's teaching now. But the guns that were involved in that incident and the takeover, they come out of a store right up the street from where I was born at. And I used to see them there, the SLA, Patton Hearst,
right.
all these cats. I witnessed that when they burnt out the house. Just like in Philadelphia. You from Philly, you remember
the moon situation.
Mayor Williams, Brad Williams, that used to be
Wilson, Mayor Wilson Good.
No, not the mayor. The one he used to be head of the police force.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear his name as much.
My mistake. He came down from Philadelphia after burning all of them in that house, and he ended up being the chief of police here. And then
it went that way. Okay, and I noticed you mentioned something about somebody getting busted out of prison. As far as that prison, do you know anything about the prison where Assad Shakur was busted out of? Is that anywhere near that prison? Or was it even in California where she was busted out of prison?
I don't know what prison she was busted out of.
Or what state it was in either?
I don't think it was California.
Okay,
I can't speak on that.
Okay, it may not have been. I just know that she
I don't know. I can't speak
that was, you know, she had been busted out though, right? Assad Shakur,
yeah.
And she's in Cuba. Yeah.
Yeah, then she went to Cuba or something like that.
Yeah,
a lot of them had to flee because of the government after them. And in fact, people always say, well, how did Crips evolve?
Okay,
because during that time, they started infiltrating the Black Panthers, the UX organizations, and these organizations that were trying to give back. And people have this misinterpretation that the Crips and Bloods were infiltrated by police and this and that. That's so far from the truth. These young men, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, the majority of them were naive. Right. We weren't deceived as most people are these last 40 years, where they try to emulate what's going on from back in those days, which never could be reciprocated or done again because of the laws that have changed. Back then, when I was 14 or 15, you get 2 years for a murder. 2. That's what you got. That's before they created the juvenile fitness hearing, which gets you tried as an adult now at an early age. That law didn't exist. In fact, it was created behind the Crips and Bloods beefing in LA, and they ran a study and they took it to the Supreme Court to where they say, hey, we have to make a decision between public safety and rehabilitation. And that's where the partner of the Red Seas go, to where now being incarcerated is a business. It's helped perpetuate this new industry called prison. And that's why we have so many laws that adversely affect you, because it's business now. And have you ever noticed every election year come around, it's tough on crime, gun control for the white man. When they get caught with a gun, we need better gun control. When a black get caught with a gun or doing something, we need gun laws. So Republican or Democrat, ain't nothing changed yet. I think it's time that we have to take responsibility and hold our elected officials accountable for what go on in our community, not the federal level. See, that's where they get the game twisted. The federal level covers the land, just like your taxes. Everybody's gonna pay the feds. But when it comes to your state taxes, Texas don't have state tax.
No, we don't. I'm glad we don't.
So the same rules apply when you're talking about redefining the community. A lot of these guys don't do nothing but blow against the wind, run their mouth. But what are they really doing to give back to help the homeless? Not just gang banging, the homeless, the mental ill, the juveniles that don't know better, the laws, All these things are just part of the problems that adversely affect us in these pockets of poverty that Obama so eloquently called it, or Trump called it rat infested Baltimore. But it's both talking about communities and areas which I've resided in and you have resided.
Absolutely.
And the same, we live that life. So I try to tell them the journey that I've been through to get where I'm at. It's been a tough one. It's been a hard one. I did over 31 years in prison.
Was that 31 consecutive years?
No, I never gave no. But see, I never been to jail, contrary to what people think.
Okay.
For gangbanging or black on black crime. I've been getting money since I was 14, from the hips or the lips. I've been trying to get my money. So I always went in on what we call an installment plan. I end up doing 31, but I came in like installments. I pay a little bit because when you're out here hustling, you don't pay taxes on your money when you hustling. So how does they get their money? They take it out your ass and send you to jail. And then they complain when they get cracked. That ain't how the game goes. That's paying your taxes when you break the law. Don't get mad when you get caught. But so many times now we see guys bragging about breaking the law, but as soon as they get caught, they want to scream, snitch, tell. So the rules don't change. You know, when we was growing up, we respected a hustle. We didn't go try to take, oh man, I'm going to take his shit. No, we gonna go try to get something to get better than what he got. You know? And you know, back then, and the dope dealers, the Harrios, the Freeway Ricks, the Michael Jordanes, the Nicky Barnes, the Felix Mitchells, I knew them all when they was coming up. And I ain't talking about just hearing them. My dudes were cracking their daughters, stuff like this, but I never was a drug dealer. I didn't like selling drugs. I didn't do that. I was a jacker. I'm robbing ice cream trucks or armored trucks starting at 15.
Okay.
That was my get out. So, you know, I never did nothing to where I've been arrested over 60 something times, but I never been to jail for hurting a black. I'm on parole for 20 years from Georgia, where I've just got off an 83-year sentence as I sit right now. But I go to jail. I went to jail in Georgia for 3 counts of attempted murder on the police. That's why I got 3 years. They got a law called the 7 Deadly Sins. And I fooled around and got in some junk down there, and I did 4 years and some change in Georgia prison.
Okay.
I was there 2010, got out 2014. I've been out.
That's the same state that got Marcus Garvey, is Georgia.
Yeah, Marcus Garvey. They getting Young Gunner. They got Brian Nichols that end up killing bailiff, the judge. He killed 4 people. He on death row. I used to run with him in there in back of E-Wing. That's where death row at in Jackson State Reception Center. So I ran the gamut, man. But, you know, I went from a taxpayer to a tax preparer, man. And I'm trying to make my mama proud. This is my first job.
Is that right?
Yeah. And can you imagine that? I'm a taxpayer, a preparer, and I've never seen a W-2 form in my life.
And this first job, how long have you had it?
Oh, well, right now I'm working on, I went to school starting in October and I'm still going now. It's seasonal for the tax season, then we go from there. So right now I'm in on the clock, man. I'm making
This your first season. This is your first season.
Yeah, I'm a freshman.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Absolutely, brother. Keep
Yes,
it going. Keep it going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're entrepreneur, self-employed.
Well, it ain't so much self-employed, but I look at it to whereas the white man is paying me by the hour to learn their game.
Okay.
Simple as that. Right. That's how I look at it. They paying me to go learn their game. And this is a game to where you can wear your white collar the rest of your life, something that could help me because I'm too old to work and too young for Social Security right now. I'm stuck right in the middle. So,
you want to wait for the second wave on the Social Security because you can get it because I'm 63 getting it from 62, but you want to wait for the next wave.
Yeah, I got to wait till the 65. I'm 65 now, so I'm eligible. I haven't applied. I didn't know nothing about none of that.
Well, based on the year you're born, I was born in 60. It would have been 66 for me, and I think they just changed to 67. But based on what year you're born, it would be.
I'm 57, so I'm 65. I'm eligible for all those benefits if I choose to go that route.
Well, yeah, well, so would you rather wait till the 70 to get it?
Oh no, I'm 70, not promised.
That's
The
my
only
point.
thing,
So I'm wondering what you're
the
waiting
only
on for the
thing,
65.
yeah. Oh, I'm going at the speed limit. I'm going in at the speed limit. I'm going in at 65, man, and see what they got to do. But I've been here. I go to school. I work 5 days a week, and I go to school because the tax game is so volatile and changes daily, to where I don't miss 1 or 2 days and then turn around. You be backtracking. It's hard catching up. So it's pretty much a 7-day event for me, man.
Yeah, I love your story though, man. That's like redemption for sure. I'm loving it.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, that's what's up, man. I definitely appreciate you coming on though. But what do you feel and think about some of these young people? Like, okay, like I just got into this podcast thing. March of last year is just coming up on a year, actually, anniversary thing.
Happy anniversary there.
Thank you, brother. But I noticed there's a lot of guys with these type of things. They do it how they do it, and they do it like carelessly and uncaring about damage. Sometimes they say anything that might get a rise out of some numbers. And it looks like a lot of brothers that have been in prison are getting in this game and doing well. And that part I love. But the part I hate is that it's so many brothers that have been and continue to enter into the prison system, period. That part is the terrible part. And you know, normally when the brother does go to prison, get out, he pretty much have to have his own business if he want to thrive rather than just merely survive. You know, that's pretty much how that is. So what can we do in your mind to try to keep our brothers from going in that prison thing?
Well, I think one of the major deterrents is age. As you get older, you start to slow down. The game slows down, just like a first-year quarterback in the NFL. What you hear him say? Oh, the game too fast for him. But these youths nowadays, they're getting a lot handed to them. It's easy access to get funding. They do sound bites for likes instead of trying to save a life. And I understand it. I understand it, but I don't understand it to where you have to slander people or these type. I'm talking about the internet and the misuse and the abuse that causes a lot of this. But when it comes to the youths of the day, they're not going to turn their guns in for no concert ticket. And I wouldn't ask nobody to turn their guns in, period. It's just that we need to not put them at each other. You know, we quick to kill a brother and slow to move on the other. And that's where we think we have the problem. But I think if we address and create jobs, something that they can be proud of, something like, hey, I got a partner that just got a $500 grant. He's from the back Philly mob, Sean Stevenson. He's a credible messenger out of Cleveland, Ohio, by way of Brooklyn, by way of the black Philly mob, because that's what he did 20 years for selling dope. So he just got $500,000 grant, but part of his program that he gets from the government that funded is he go around, they take off the graffitis off people's property because the property value drops in these communities with high crime rates. So I think we have to be more creative. I think 3 areas of attack. The juvenile justice system needs to be addressed because we're locking young men up for mistakes that they make at 14, 15, where they more likely than not been influenced by an adult. And most people don't understand. They make mistakes, but we shouldn't just throw their life away at 14 or 15 when they can't drive, they can't buy alcohol, but they old enough to where they could get the death penalty. So I think the juvenile justice system needs to be addressed, but it also gives the younger youth something to stand up for. See, they don't have nothing to march for. They doing a lot of marching, but they don't have nothing to march for. Then I think we need to address the unified school district. No more different than when the whites were saying blacks couldn't come to school. What's the difference now where these blacks are bullying youths and students that want to go to school to learn, but you're gang banging, territorial, and you stopping them? I think that should be a safe zone as well as parks and recreation. I think those three areas are the main areas of attack to where we have to catch these youths. And if you notice, everywhere I said it involved youths. Youths at the park, youths in juvenile, youths at
Well,
school.
well, you know, they go by the failing rate of third graders to determine how many prisons to build. So they looking even at the babies, not just the youth. You feel me? And we are the target. If we don't know that, we don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we got to do our part the most. But I don't expect the outside elements to do what's best for us. They never have. Why would they start? And they won't ever start. So
Now
we've
we're
got to
too
do better by us.
yeah, we talk about Black Lives Matter, but do really all Black Lives Matter? The only time we hear about them is when the police don't kill the black or something of that nature. And I know Melanie Molina and Black Lives Matter, but I feel that all Black Lives Matter, not just no rapper, actor, entertainer, or somebody's
Absolutely.
real.
No doubt.
What
No
about
doubt.
the guys, like, for instance, I know a parent, these are true stories, recent ones, of
Right.
where her son was found shot 50 times and abandoned in a car after being shot somewhere else. Who speaks up for him? I know about a girl that just got killed the other day sitting in a car. Who speaks up for her? I know about two brothers at a chicken stand, both of them from different factions. Both of them get killed in the car. Who speaks up for these people? But not only the victims, I speak up for the suspect, victims, or witness. Those are the three areas that go on the police report: suspect, victim, and witness when that police report bit. So, as a civil rights advocate, my job is to make sure all three of those categories, they civil rights aren't violated. I think they violate a defendant. See, they'll put a name on it. Oh, he killed Nipsey Hussle. Oh, he killed Quavo. Okay, well, I know people that killed other people, but they have a right being a defendant. I've been a defendant 60 times. And I know I wouldn't want nobody all on, let alone talk in jail about my case, but
Right.
talk over social media, that prejudice their case. That's for the defendant, which I feel social media plays a role in adversely affecting a defendant. Then you got the victim. Say, for instance, the victim get killed. Well, his civil rights were violated. So the family or whoever, they have a right to go and sue the accuser, prosecutor. Then you had a witness. Good example, Cowboy, that was there, witness when Nipsey Hussle got killed. He's torn between damned if I do and damned if I don't. For one thing, he's a personal friend of Nipsey's and his family. And I've seen this occur a lot of times over all the murders that I've witnessed occur or know about, to where you'll have young guys and they'll know their mothers and fathers or somebody that got killed with them. You don't think they're going to tell that family who did it and what? But then when they get on the stand, now you got the street code. Hey, man, you can't say nothing. But when you are witness, they got this snitch game fucked up. They got tore back, man, to where snitching is overrated. But when you testify and get on that stand to where you committed a crime, then get up there for the state to weasel out your case, that's unacceptable. I see them all on here. He a snitch, T.I. snitch. Charleston White, the biggest rat it is on television. And they supporting that game goofy shit. for sound bites and lights. And these are the type of things, if it's entertainment, fine. But when you're talking about threatening people, causing chaos, like a infiltrator, like you working for the police, everybody need to back off. And since they talk about this cancel cult, they need to cancel his ass out because he's not doing nothing for the community. He's just abusing his privileges on these internets, which a lot of them do. And speaking of the internet, have you noticed most of these shows, they don't have me on there because they rather believe a lie than the truth. And a truth can never coexist with a lie. So you'll never see me up there face to face with none of these guys simply because of the fact they're going to be exposed for what they are. Fakes. You know, you got people watching these shows that still believe wrestling real, man.
Okay.
They still think wrestling real. That ain't how this game goes.
They still think it's real.
Yeah, they think it's real. Yeah. I don't seen them in Georgia prison where they set up 3 days before, like you finna get a seat for the Super Bowl to watch wrestling.
Right,
you got to fight for a seat in Georgia prisons, man.
You know what? I heard something that I was surprised. Like you know the brother Mayhem, the mentor,
yes,
here in
sir.
Dallas, Texas. I was surprised that because, like I say, I've never been to prison, but I've heard different things about things. I knew one brother that even got me to Texas, Curtis Jefferson. This brother said that he had heard people say all the time, "Whatever you do, don't go to prison in Texas." Right. But anyway, come to find out, the differences in Texas and California, which I didn't know till recently. Okay, in Texas, any type of higher learning that's attached to college degrees and things, you have to be able to pay for that. They don't give you that. They'll do the horticulture and trades, and they don't pay you for working either. But California will pay you for working. They'll pay for your college education and any other kind of education. And I know this personally. Let me say, that's what he said. But let me say this one right quick. Now, I know they have conjugal visits, and this is one of my most, I would think, important, because I know Geronimo Pratt had babies while he was in prison. So I know they got them conjugal visits, and I know that's a big plus, I would say.
Yeah, but actually they had stopped them, and the conjugal visits come with restrictions because Charles Manson crimey Tex Watkins is his name.
Okay.
He had over 8-9 kids off of family visits, and all of them end up being county recipients. So they cut it down and restricted it to where you couldn't be a lifer and get the conjugal. They just started it back. But now let's talk about paying in prison. I wrote a book called The New Slave Ship, 3 Strikes You In, Not Out, because I'm the first one in California to ever get out on a reversal from the California 3 Strikes law, the most draconian law in the nation when it comes to adversely. Now, back in the old days, the 70s, the 80s, all the way up till it started turning into a business, you could go to school and get your money put on your book, just no more different than you were getting Social Security for your father's death at 18 or something like that. You could get that. But when it started being a business, they cut that out. They cut out the trades. Not cut them out, but they started to making them to where when I first went there, you were getting paid by a system of 1, 2, 3, 4. Every number was a quarter. You might go out to go on your trade and they grade you for the day. 8 hours work. 2, you'll get a number 2. That's 50 cents.
Okay.
In fact, now they got what they call A numbers. That's when you might make $190 a month. And I've seen on these tax returns where they ask, did you work in prison? So I started researching this. But it's a business where it's like a salt on wood. When you build a prison, here in California, we have 33 to 35 state prisons, not including the little camps and stuff. So we got over 100 when it comes to the California Department of Corrections. And the 33 prisons, they build tables. They built the Olympic Village, the furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Say you got an ice factory in the middle of nowhere where it was agriculture. Now the farming and everything is drying up, and you got an ice box where you making ice in a shack in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Now to the average eye, oh man, that's in the middle of nowhere. It's not making money. But because most inmates, one way or other, are trying to either play crazy, get some type of pills or something to get high, they have what they call heat meds. So during the summer, when the temperature get a certain level, they have to give them a bag of ice. So that means you get a bag of ice in the morning and you're getting one at night. That's 2 bags of ice per person. You got a facility that might have 2,000 to 3,000, and it's 5 facilities like a Pentagon. Now you got 10,000 inmates, and probably 80% of them getting 2 bags of ice. Can you imagine how much money you making? Dry cleaning. They got a professional dry cleaner. The police, the security, or the correctional officers, they'll come there and get their clothes cleaned for 25 cents an item. But it's professionally done. Electronics, they fix their TVs. Welding, license plates, boots. They do all type of stuff for trades, but it's at cheap labor, man. Yeah. It's very cheap labor. And what they also do now, it's like a slave. When they not even if you a good slave back in the day, a white man would get prosecuted and the death penalty for not feeding a slave. So what they do now, because of the time being done by older men, been in there 40, 50, their bill is getting too high to where the medical bill is costing them too much to keep them. So they'll release them up under this elderly bill they got on the board. It's called 60-25. You have to be over 60, did over 25 years, and you're eligible. But that's because you're too high of a risk medically. So they'll boot you on out. You come out and you basically die. You don't have no insurance. Right. You don't have a job. So they basically delete it. And it's another thing about California prison that no other prison does in America. Mm-hmm. Segregate.
Okay.
That's real big though, because that means they segregate on the streets. See, we not like other states to where, oh, we get along. Oh, no. I've never, ever seen a other in a cell with a black or vice versa because of the violence. You're talking Mexican mafia, you're talking Aryan Brotherhood, you're talking BGF, you're talking ABs, Aryan Brotherhoods, you're talking North Familias, you're talking Serranos, you're talking Crips, you're talking Bloods, you're talking UBNs, and you're talking Samoans, you're talking Chinese. Everybody is racially stereotyping to where they don't get along with each other. They don't eat together. They don't sleep together. They don't lift weights together. Everything is segregated, and this translates back into the streets, particularly in Southern California. From Bakersfield down to Mexico, those are Southern Mexicans. They call it burning coal. That's when you messing with a black. If they women messing with a black, oh, they liable to get killed. You burn coal. So our prison system, whereas when I was in Georgia prison, I stayed in Gwinnett County for 2 years before I went to prison fighting the case. I had 2 Mexicans that were immigration that were in my cell. They put them in there because they were kind of young, didn't speak English. I can do the time with them in there or without. I don't need no company. in isolation. I know what to do to occupy myself, and my mind is pretty strong when it comes to isolation.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that's different with California when it comes to their prison system, we segregate here to where Georgia, Texas, and all these prisons, they don't do that. We don't, and it's illegal, but you can't do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm. I thought that they segregated themselves pretty much in these prisons, but in the way that you're
They
saying,
they
yeah,
segregate themselves when they go outside the cell.
okay,
Say you go to the yard, you got a weight pile. Okay, this is where the blacks put buff iron at, and they gonna have them standing around with the knives. So if something go down, we protect it.
mm-hmm.
But when it come to being in a cell, Texas, Georgia, they don't discriminate. You can be in a cell. They don't have the same racial problems as we do. So they get along like that. Here, you can't do that in the state of California. They've never done it. You can't put them together. The county jail,
Mm-hmm.
may, and they're going to be where they're going to be doing what they do anyway. But when it comes to prison, it's segregated all the way around the board.
It's interesting that they segregated like that, because when you look at the free world part of California, it's like they're trying to present themselves as so liberal, right? Because y'all even have something going on with the reparations thing. The only state that got that going on.
Yeah, we got reparations, Molly Bell, and all them that deal with reparations and so forth. But we are a liberal state. But the state has no control on the inmates. You got inmates and you got convicts. Then this is when you learn the difference between a prison gang and a street gang.
Mm-hmm.
A street gang has no chain of command to where they got it, but it's no structure. They're not pressing the government. They're not the tile worker. They're not pressuring you business-wise, extortions and things of this nature. But when you get in that prison, it's a whole different ballgame because you got torpedoes. Those are the ones that will come kill you in front of the police, throw their ID down, don't try to get away. I've seen that done numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in prison, you have guys, and at that time I was 18, 19 when I first go. These guys 30, 35. You talk about the George Jacksons, the Geronimo Platts, the Fleety Gromgos, the Hugo Canels, the Doc Hollidays, the Ray Brownings. These are major, major, major killers.
Mm. I was wondering what the next word was going to be after major.
That's what I can say, but they were revolutionary. This is when you check your guns in at the county. They say George Jackson had a graveyard in the prison from where they do it. But back in those days, like I say, you had the police fighting against you. Google the Corcoran murders. That's when they were setting us up to fight against the Latinos, and then the blacks would get killed during the skirmish and the melee. So our little get down is a little bit different. Like we hear about these rappers, actors, and entertainers, but in California, we don't look up to rappers, actors.
Well, I'll tell you what experience I had one time. I knew this one young lady, right? And here in Dallas. And her sister had been living in California. But she came back to Dallas and I met her and everything. And then one day I was driving, she was at the bus stop. The sister that I met that had been living in California. I picked up and gave her a ride. She said under those same circumstances, had we been in California, she said she wouldn't have got in my vehicle.
No. And let me tell you, yeah, I can believe that.
She said that she meant it too.
Oh, she wasn't playing, but let me tell you what a lot of people don't know. And one of the reasons out here, when the drug game card started, it created a lot of serial killing to be done, because what better way to trap your victim than to pull them in with the candy that you gonna smoke?
Talking about bait. Yeah, definitely some bait. Oh, yeah, that's easy to find.
And
right?
that's what happened. People don't. I knew the Grim Reaper that I grew up with. You wouldn't have never knew.
Right.
Never knew
Black
My
man?
partner,
Yo,
the
black
Grim
man then.
Reaper,
Yeah.
he had been killing over 30 years
Oh
in
my
our
goodness.
community. I knew over 60% of the people he killed.
Oh
And
my
I
goodness.
talked to him all the way till the day he almost got busted. And you never would have knew
That's
he was
cold.
that killer. So you don't have the South Side Slayer, the
Mm.
Skid Row Slasher. You had another police. So I can understand her being skeptical because I
Yeah, she
read.
said now, but you mentioned Skid Row just then. And from what I understand, that's a huge homeless strip over there. And is that in the LA area or something? I hear it's horrific, man.
Oh, it's the downtown area. Skid Row is downtown, uh, right up the street from the Staples Center or the Crypto Center. But a lot of people didn't know, when you build a stadium, you create gentrification in that
Okay.
area. In other
Yeah.
words, they're going to get rid of the eyesore, the undesirables. When they built the Forum, the house that Jack built, when the Lakers came, first they was at the sports arena.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jack Kent Cook built the Lakers, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, but in Inglewood. But that community, they took the hoes away, they took the pimps away, they took the drug dealers. That's why you have the host road that's over there on Figueroa now, where you hear about Freeway Rick and see this and that. But when they built the Crypto Center, which is called now the Staples Center,
Mm-hmm.
that was the area for the homeless. So what they do, they didn't restructure them and give them shelter. They started locking them up.
Mm.
So they started locking up a lot of the homeless who already suffered from mental health. But they also had turned that area down there into basically a slum. In
Mm.
fact, two people just got killed down there the other day. It's a very brutal area. It's infested, mental illness, homelessness, trash, filth.
Mm.
And I'm not talking about it because I'm putting these conditions to where people can hear it and might want to
Yeah,
make
just
a
sharing
change
the
and
knowledge. Yeah.
change that condition
Yeah.
because I feel that they're human beings also and
Absolutely,
they
no
deserve
doubt.
a break in life
I
also.
mean,
So, yeah,
I'm trying to understand why would the city allow them or whichever level of government, state or whatever for all over the nation, all these homeless people, like you mentioned, mental. I mean, at one point they had budgets for mental institutions. When the budget got dropped, they just let them out on the bus, send them to another city. Those are mostly the ones you see eating out of trash cans. Those are the
right
mental
now.
ones, and that's what's
It's funny you said uh, uh, mental illness as a defense. They cut that out for a black. When a white man, let's go, I'll give you a good example. John Hinckley,
mm-hmm.
he
The
went and
one that
shot
shot Reagan, Ronald Reagan.
Reagan, and
Mm-hmm.
they created the Brady Law. If that would have been a black that shot him, he'd have went to prison. But Hinckley got to go to St. Elizabeth in Washington, D.C. I went and visited him
Mental
before.
institution,
Yeah,
absolutely.
he had to use, he was able to use the defense. I was mentally ill, like the
Mm-hmm.
birds that flew over the cuckoo nest. But
And
we're not afforded that defense when we go to court for the crimes we met. We can't sit up there and say, hey, I was mentally incompetent or unstable. But when it comes to a white person, when they got it, they can use it. So I think that should be addressed also. And they
well, you
treat them and they started punishing them. That goes to show you the difference between rehabilitation and punishment. They punish the black, they try to rehabilitate the white. Like
that's the
uh
American way.
that's the American way. And they
Absolutely.
not knowing that the American way is built on gangsterism.
For sure. Biggest
Bootleg
gangsters in the
the
world.
Kennedys, Al Capone. Those are the type of guys I grew up watching. Elliot Ness, the Al Capones,
Yeah,
and
and
these
then
type of movies.
and historically, like you say, sadly, Americans are the most ignorant people in the world. Okay. Even what you're talking about, how gangster this country is, it's so gangster that they have dealt and cut deals with gangsters in the Italian mafia because they needed them to blow up bridges in Italy when they're fighting these Germans. So they done cut deals with gangsters that they know are gangsters, giving them immunity to things. Lucky Luciano, okay, you just gotta leave the country. Come on now, they gangsters dealing with gangsters. It's just sad that our people know very little about the history in this nation, even about our own black people. Black people should know more about black history in this country and Caucasian history than anybody else, because we've been the primary targets forever. So I know different things, fake politicians, fake religion, different things is killing us. But we can bring that back and fix us. Those that are like-minded like us, that care about the well-being and betterment of black people collectively. We utilize our resources that way, and then we'll thrive rather than merely survive. Because when we get it set up for everybody to see, the masses are coming, because the masses are bandwagon people. And when they see we got something good for everybody and it's free, they come.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Absolutely, you know it. That's human nature.
My man told me, Pachu, he grew up, he was original Soledad 6 with George Jackson them, and he used to give me a lot of knowledge. And he'd say, Melvin, one thing about us as Black Panthers, and I'm gonna put you up on the game. He'd say, Melvin, when you can feed them and supply them food, they listen to you.
I know that's
But
right.
when you don't have nothing that you can provide to sustain them or make them a better person, you're not going to last long. And he was just talking in reference to the internet about how so empty a lot of these conversations be, worrying about Kanye West, worrying about.
But that's ridiculous. I'm like, how are they talking about this guy more than 15 minutes, let alone 15 days or weeks? It's ridiculous, but
and
sadly,
the people like BS.
The people like BS, but sadly, not many others are providing an alternative either. You see, they're lumping up on that side of the BS, but where are the people that are trying to do what me and you doing? There's only a few compared to the ones that just out there for numbers with shock jock, whatever the concept, trying to get $1. I mean, I'm after trying to help our people. I mean, forget $1. I done retired. I mean, I'm trying to help us help ourselves. And we'll do it. And we on our way. We're at the threshold. That's what's so great. We're at the threshold of uniting collectively as a people. Those that are involved know about it. Those that have no idea about it, they're not involved in any of it.
No, you're absolutely correct. You know, experience, you can't buy it. You got to have lived this life. And, you know, a lot of people, it's the journeys that you went through, the journey that I traveled. That's when you learn, not when you get to your destination. Once you get to your destination, okay, I made it. But tell us your journey. I was on death row. Well, how you get off death row? So we know your journey. So I won't end up on death row. I don't need to know about.
And that's my whole thought.
I want to know that journey that took your ass to get you there. So I don't
share that.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times they think that you be bragging about things, but hell, it's your life. If that's the life you live and it's the truth, and you trying to help it, you know, it's not braggadocious. It's just is what it is.
I would suspect those that think anybody's bragging have different reasons why they think that. And sadly, I think a big percentage of those people are just hating on something. Some people are just haters, and haters do what haters do. They hate. If it ain't on you, it's on somebody else. That's what they do. We are who we are. You know what I'm saying? We got plenty of haters by nature. I'm saying not as in our people, that's the nature of human beings. I mean, I even checked myself one time, and I know I'm a nice person. I care about others. Okay, misery love company. Okay, how did I confirm that for myself? I thought about it. Okay, I had work, but I'm retired, get a check, pension for life. But when I was working, I thought about the concept of what if you get fired from your job, right? Okay, what if you're the only one to get fired? What if it's 3-4 y'all? Unfortunately, I can tell you feel a little bit better if you're not the only one to get fired. Yeah. That's misery loving company, because your budget don't change whatever happened to their pocket. But you do feel a little better when you weren't the only one to get fired. That confirmed it for me. Misery.
Now with me, company. I'm up under a little bit of different code.
Okay.
We come in like, and I'm not talking about, I'll just use this as an example.
Okay.
Say, and these are a good example, a true story. Say 5 of us get caught for a rob.
Right.
Whoever got the most evidence on him, this could be for a murder too. Whoever got the most evidence on him, it's no need for all of us going to jail. They gonna ride that beef.
Okay.
Nowadays, everybody wants to tell. So with us, misery didn't love company because we didn't like misery, but we was up under a different cloth. Hey, homie, you go and you gonna ride the beef. We got you while you in there. See, that's a whole different code and standard because we breaking the law. So when you talk about, I can understand with you, like you don't want to feel bad, like God damn, I'm no. It's like the day I was going back to get transferred to Georgia State Prison on a violation. I done went to jail. I'm in Mexico now. I'm in San Diego, where they working my way. Where I go to Utah. Then I hit Georgia. So they called me out. I'm thinking I'm fit to go home. It's a weekend and it's a road going, and all of a sudden, they called my name out to pack. Everybody else go to release. They tell me to go get in this cell. Now, it wasn't hate, but I sure wish I'd have been in that crowd with them. Like, why me? But as far as me and being around people, our thought was let the sack live, man. Like when we used to rob jewelry stores, we didn't all go with that sack once we come out that store. One person gonna peel off with that bag. So if we get caught, that sack gonna live. And so, that's what we call it. The sack must live. Once we gonna split up to where that sack getting away. And if we get caught, so be it. But that sack gonna make it. And so we understood. We never had no misery love company. I know
I'm changing the subject a little bit. I noticed you said something about you was doing maybe criminal activity at 14, 15, right? What about your parental situation? Did you have both of your parents?
Yeah, I come from an era where my mother and my father worked. My mother had a great job at Northrop. My mama had me at 15.
Okay.
My daddy was working at Greyhound bus station. But like a lot of us, our parents didn't know we were sneaking out the window at night.
Did you have siblings?
I had 2 sisters where most of they families or their friends, they didn't even know that they had a brother to this day and been knowing them all their life because they never really seen me.
Yeah,
but I had taught my sisters them at a young age, don't tell nobody I'm your brother. You don't know what I might have done. No, I'm dead serious.
I know you are, homie. But we can laugh at it now. It wasn't funny then.
Yeah. No, it wasn't funny then, and it's not funny now because the same thing exists. I don't let anybody introduce me, oh, that's Melvin Farmer. All I let them do is just say, oh, that's Melvin. Then we'll figure it out as we go. Because I didn't know it hurt me to the T when my sister told me a story about her ditching at 16 years old and the police catch her. And it was the first time trying. They wasn't, my sisters and them, they wasn't all out there. Right. But anyway, the police, they running and they writing her name. And I didn't find this out, but it broke my heart a couple of years ago. And she said, yeah, I remember Melvin, I never told you when I got pulled over from high school, we were ditching and they read my ID and they seen my last name was Farmer. And they said, it's your brother, Melvin Farmer. She said, yeah. They told her, we're going to tell you this one time. We're going to take you to school. Don't be getting into what your brother do. And by the way, tell your brother, we're going to kill him.
Oh, my goodness.
See, this is what people don't understand. Back in our days, my days growing up in LA, I'm not speaking nowhere.
Right.
But in our days growing up as juveniles, the police would come to your house and tell him to bring your son in or else we're going to kill him. Or they just, it wasn't nothing for the police to tell the parent, we gonna kill your son. So
I'm not
I had
surprised though.
both parents.
Mm.
I'm basically the black sheep, but a lot of people didn't know I made choices in life. I was the number one ranked basketball player in this city at
Okay.
14, 15. Oh yeah.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
daddy cried when he found out I was gangbanging right in the middle of that gym floor.
Mm.
He cried and said, "You finna fuck off our family money, gangbanging." But the NBA, football, none of that was a pastime. You know, the number one sports, and you can attest to this, was baseball.
Baseball for a long time. Oh yeah.
Football, basketball wasn't nothing. You could watch that on ABC, Muhammad Ali,
Oh
Joe
yeah. You used to
Frazier,
watch
all
Ali
that
on.
was free.
Absolutely.
Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, but the cable wasn't available yet either, though.
Right, but it
Mm-hmm.
was free, but it
Yeah.
wasn't, the NBA wasn't like it is now.
They sure
Fantastic.
wasn't paying them that kind of money, that's for sure.
That's what I'm saying. If you wanted to be something, be an athlete, you wanted to be a baseball player, man.
Mm-hmm.
My
And
dad.
sadly, a lot of our people don't even realize baseball is still a great option because you can go there straight from high school. You can also make it in a minor league and make a great living. Don't even ever make it to the major league. There's a
And go
lot
to
of
college.
options. Yeah.
And go to college. Hey, my phone is fit to die in a couple of minutes.
All right, brother.
Let me tell you, baseball is the number one sports, but we're talking with Doc Ellis. You remember Doc Ellis, the pitcher, one of the first pitchers to start with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1960 when they won the World Series with
Okay.
Roberto Clemente right before he died on the excursion trying to help his people, and he died in a plane crash right on his 3,000 hit. Well, we've done a show where I have a theory to why blacks aren't playing at the major level as opposed to the foreigners and others and balance and all this. And that's because they use so much of their money during the winter because basketball and football is a winter sport. By the time summer come around, they don't have the money in these pockets of poverty to pay for them to play that sports, and they turn the parks and recreations into daycare centers. No more different than I think the parents of today. A lot of them need to be held accountable for what your child is viewing on that idiot box. But we don't take responsibilities for that. And we want to throw the blame off on other people when we have to start not treating our children as friends, but as parents. And too many times we look upon our children as a friend. Oh, that's cool, or condone.
And that's like another form of child abuse. And what I hear is that for the listening audience, I think he might be gone. Uh, they have a baby boy and put two earrings in his ear, earring in each ear, just like to do a baby girl. Maybe little man want to do something a little bit different than everybody else. So I want to say, let's at least look at some boundaries as far as a little boy shouldn't be able to do everything that a grown man do at such a young age, right? So let's talk about that. Think about that. Me and Brother Melvin, I'm sure we're going to get together again another time. It was a great and interesting talk. And thank everybody for listening in. My beautiful people. I love my people, beautiful black people. I love my people, beautiful black people.